we gonna have a good time and keep you in the know. Let all your trouble go. In the know, in the know, in the know. In the know, in the know, in the know. In the know, in the know, in the know.
Hey, hey, that's me, Michellita Taylor, live in the Victory Station Studios for the In the Know radio show right here in the beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. And it's a beautiful day today. Hey, it's a little cloudy, and clouds are not always a bad thing when it's so hot because the heat has been on in Jacksonville these last couple of days. Hopefully you are enjoying this day. There's a lot of things that are happening today. In particularly happening today is the Florida Black Excellence Fest. Listen, if you have not had an opportunity to connect with this incredible festival, today is the last day. Today is the main event that's happening downtown in the Veterans Arena. Listen, I want to give a big shout out to Mitzi Pollock and his team that has done a phenomenal job this week. It has been incredible bringing all the different vendors, businesses, entrepreneurs together all in one place to connect and see how we can continue to grow our city. So make sure if you don't have any plans that you head downtown to that today. But listen, today I have an incredible guest in the studio. Like I say, you're going to sound a little bit redundant. I know some great people. I am so thankful that God has enabled me to stay connected with some incredible people that are from Jacksonville and that are making some incredible moves, initiatives, and important missions of passion to be able to elevate us and make sure that we maximize our lives right here in our city. And so today, I have a king in the building, okay? I've been having some queens. I had another king last week, but I have another young king in the building today. His name is Travis Williams. And Travis and I, we go way back. Man, it's been about 15, 20. Let's see, I've been in my house for almost 20 years. Oh my gosh. So it's been about 15. Because I had just moved in.
So 20, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so it's been a minute. It has been a minute. But let me give this man his flowers before we get into our conversation. Travis Williams is a proud native of Jacksonville, Florida, where he resides with his beautiful wife and children. He currently serves as president and CEO of Lift Jacks, a leading initiative driven by business, philanthropic, and community leaders dedicated to revitalizing Jacksonville's urban core and breaking the cycle of generational poverty through place-based neighborhood transformation. Since joining the organization in 2021, Lift Jacks has made strategic investments in redeveloping a neighborhood grocery store, advancing mixed-income infill housing, activating historic Florida Avenue commercial corridor, and enhancing parks and green spaces. These efforts are centered in the historic East Side, one of the region's largest and most intact historically Black neighborhoods, a community Travis's family has called home for nearly a century. He brings a unique blend of experience from the private, public, and entrepreneur sectors to his role guiding the organization with vision, authenticity, and a deep personal commitment to equity and impact. Travis earned his undergraduate degree from the University of North Florida, Osprey Swoop, and holds an executive MBA from Jacksonville University. He is currently a Cradle to Career Partnership Fellow at Harvard University, where he is studying cross-sector leadership. A dedicated civic leader, Travis contributes his time and expertise to numerous boards and committees focused on economic development, equitable revitalization, and community well-being. His leadership has been recognized with honors such as the University of North Florida's Young Alumni Achievement Award and inclusion in the Jacksonville Business Journal's 40 Under 40. Clap it up, snap it up for my friend, Mr. Travis Williams.
Hey.
How does it feel to hear?
It's weird.
Is it?
It's weird. It's like, man, that's a brief one. It should.
Look at that, the modesty. That was just a little modified one for the show.
I appreciate it. It's weird to hear, but it's also good to hear because that's work, a lot of work, and grace of God is going into that. So
and the sacrifice. When you hear some of the bulleted items of what you've accomplished, do memories kind of come up of like what was going on in that season of accomplishment? Yeah, lots of it. I mean, that sounded good on paper, but that was what it took. The battle scars to get that sentence on that paper. But so for a moment, I'm gonna deviate just a minute from how we kind of roll with the show. Tell me a memory from when you got your undergraduate degree from UNF. What was that season like? That's kind of the inception of the foundation of when all of this kind of began. Yeah. So my time at UNF is always memorable, because I came to know Christ in college. So I met the Lord on the campus of UNF. And I always joke, there were other colleges I wanted to go to, Morehouse, in particular, UCF, FAM. But I don't know how I would have fared on the heels of FAM, or how I would have fared at Morehouse being so close to Spelman, because that's really where I wanted to go, because I was so close to Spelman. But I ended up at UNF, and in God's sovereignty, he wrecked my world there, towards the end of my freshman year. So that changed the trajectory of my life. Going into college on the type of time I was on, sharp academically, finishing from a school like Stanton, you gotta have some sharpness academically. But Wednesday night was not Bible study night for me. It was club night at the Globe. Back then, the Globe on Wednesdays. Travis, you was in the club? I was, Travis, you was in the club? Heavy. I cannot see that. That's the grace of God. Man, you can't see that. Look like what I've been through. Covered. But, that was my life. And then I'll never forget that moment walking across one of the basketball courts at UNF, going to class, walking past one of the dorms and past some basketball courts. And I was walking, but in my mind and heart, I was running. Like just running, like, you chasing me, God, but I ain't got time for this. And I just, in that season, remember stopping and saying, okay, I'm tired of running from you. I give up. And life changed very quickly. Went from that. Desmond Demps is probably the name that you know. Yes. Des and I met at UNF, and there was a Bible study that he had started years before. And I remember him asking, he was like, "Hey man, you wanna like share?" I was like, "Negro, no, I'm not sharing." I was like, if these people walk in and hear her and them, and they like, he was just in the club with us like last semester. Now he up. So I was like, nah, man, I'm not all alone. The Lord was preparing me for that, and I knew I was, gifted in that area, and was, talking to people who weren't in my room, in my apartment, in front of the mirror. I finally said, okay, I'll do it. And he was like, all right, next Tuesday, you on. Wow. I was like, oh. He's like, nope. He said yes. And so, that experience, helping him build that and co-leading that with him, turning into one of the largest campus ministries on campus. And so, those things really set a foundation for, my future of, ministry being limited not just to those kind of things of teaching and preaching, but still finishing school in business and going off to have a successful career in the industry that I first started in. But it started at UNF. The Lord met me there. And see that I love how when people give me their salvation stories, how the confidence of knowing it's the Lord's voice. Yeah. Because knowing that voice so soundly, it definitely does make the difference for where you're going post-salvation moments. Yeah. So salvational life, but from those different seasons, from one job, one relationship, one open door, closed door to the next, just to know confidently what his voice is. Yeah. Whenever you got saved, what were some things that you did, and I'm setting this up like this for a reason, what are some things that you did ongoing following that to make sure that confidence was sure and sound? Because where you were going, which we're going to talk about, you were unsure about, but you said yes because of the confidence of knowing, okay. Yeah. And I think there's faith in the multitude of counsel. And so, for me, having a local church was important.
having a pastor that I trusted to say, hey, I'm growing like really fast. I remember I know you know Miss Regina. Miss Regina and I, that's a member of Potter's House. Michellita and I met at the same church, and so I remember pulling her to the side. I was like, I'm growing a lot, and like it's scary. Like this stuff I'm reading stuff and I'm kind of understanding it, but it's coming at me real fast.
Yeah.
So between that and then, you know, telling Bishop at the time, hey, I'm like teaching this Bible stuff. I don't know if you should know that. Yeah. Maybe I should let you know, but I'm already doing it. But I would love like some help because I've never done this before. But I feel like it comes natural. And every time people are like, hey, just email me your sermon. Like, just email me your transcript. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what that is, but can you send me some of yours? So it would be randomly after every service, I would ask, hey, can I get your transcript? And he'd just say, yeah, here's my transcript from the service. And so, you know, that technical side of just the technical aspect of teaching and preaching, but having people to disciple me, you know, that was critical. So whether that was folks like, you know, Elder Tim Donald at the church, or others who discipled me in the Lord. Charles and Wayne Williams are like mentor couples for my wife and I. We met them very early on. Because another important thing that happened at UNF was I proposed to my wife while I was still in college at UNF. And we started dating in school. And the multitude of wise counsel we had around us helped for me solidify the direction. Yeah. People I trusted saying, this girl is good for you. Yeah. Like, we think she's really good for you. Help solidify what I felt the Lord was telling me. And I think that's something that, you know, today we lose the impact of that. The Lord can speak to you, he does. Right. But he confirms things with people around you. And there should be some folks around you confirming what you believe the Lord is saying to you. And if you can't find confirmation with people who the Lord has put around you, and then there should be some tension in that. And so having a small local church, having a good family, you know, my mom is a born again, tongue talking, demon chasing, waking up with oil on your forehead.
What a spray bottle of oil, huh?
Why is there oil on my forehead?
Yes.
And she, you know, it's a joke she always said, well, she probably not joking. I got seed in the ground, I put seed.
I know that's right.
And I want to get my harvest.
Come on.
So a lot of the stuff she planted in me
as
a child, by the time I got to college, I was just reaping the benefits of what she planted in my brother and I year after year. You know, she got saved, I think, when I was about 3 or 4. And so a lot of it was her and what she planted in. It's kind of like Timothy, the faith that your grandmother gave you, you know, faith my mom gave me. So that community really helped, I think, expedite some of my growth as a young man.
And I hear like complete commitment. You know, you got saved, you got plugged in, you got to work. Yeah. Some, you know, this is just kind of a blanketed statement, but today salvation just kind of comes so quickly, and I'm saved, and then you're just kind of out there, but there's no anchoring down in terms of that salvation. So that way a person knows, okay, now I can again know what God's voice is, know what work through his word that I need to continue to, you know, marinate in. So that way, when I need to go into the secular world, bringing my faith, my confidence in him out there, I'll know how to be led by him. And it sounds like you set that system up very, very early because you were all in.
And I saw it. I mean, it's clear now, but then I just was moving the way I saw people I respected move. And so, you know, understanding the importance of ecclesiology and the community of the local church and how that plays such a pivotal role in your development, and believing that, and understanding too now, not necessarily understood it then, but salvation, I don't want to get too theological, but, you know, theology
turning the corner here.
I know, you know, salvation in its justification may be personal. And that's true. It is personal. Like God saves you personally. But salvation in the sense of sanctification, that process throughout your life that we go through. When Paul says, you know, you've been saved, he says you're being saved, and he says you're going to be saved. Well, okay, so which one is it? Right. It's all of them. Been saved, being saved, going to be saved. That sanctification process, I think the Bible speaks to it being communal. It is not as much, there's a personal aspect of us being sanctified, but he does that through community. And so I think that's something that in our Western individualistic way, that's why in Acts he was able to say, believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved and your household.
Yes.
Because they knew that this faith was communal.
Yeah.
And when a head of a household got saved, he came home and was like, okay, we serve Jesus now.
We're setting
and
order.
everybody's like, okay.
This is what we're doing now.
And so, seeing that community and having that be a part of my life. And again, that's why I thank God for folks like a good pastor, Bishop and Lady. I thank God for folks like Desmond Demps and the community he created with YVOG that I was able to plug into and amplify. All those pockets of community, a family that is filled with folks who love the Lord, whether it's, again, my mom, seeing my uncle who's a pastor now, seeing his life transform, all these pockets of community and having a broader family that is just near and dear and important to me. That is really what's been a part of the, quote, success people may see is a strong community.
And it is truly the success of you and the work that you're doing in the community. And I'm sure you've heard this, and I believe you even identify yourself as a servant leader. Yeah. To say that word, and I think it was on LinkedIn that I saw it in your bio, servant leader. Okay. To have that title to be announced really to the world really speaks to your position in God, and for others to be able to see that it is not just the me, but it's the submitted me to the work of God that I'm doing in the earth. And to magnify that as a believer, I think is so reaffirming, because for some reason, believers feel like that should be an afterthought when it comes to the work that they're putting out, whether it's in the community, whatever sectors they're in. But it's not one that has to be browbeated, but it will be shown in your service, and it's okay that it will be somewhere in print as well. So I applaud you for that. I think that's so good, and to hear your testimony and to hear kind of the background story as to how your humility and your surrendering to what God has already planned for you to do, that has truly been the building blocks for where you are today. Yeah, we should, Peter talks about us being a peculiar people, a chosen generation. And when something is truly peculiar, it makes people curious. And in Jude, where it talks about it, be ready to give an answer to every man for the faith that you have. The answer only comes from a question. So when you look at, okay, I'm peculiar, and then people have questions about why I'm the way I am, and that's where the influence starts to happen. And so you have to, there should be a peculiarness and something special about how we show up. So people should be questioning us. Yeah, they should be like, man, why are you the way, why do you act like that happened? You responded this way. And, people, on our team, they joke with me about certain stuff, and, how I act or my response, or, joke with, Pastor Trav got something, this is it. And to them, it's just, hopefully it's them seeing the fruit of the Spirit in my life. And in whatever sector we're in, people should be seeing something peculiar and like, man, I wouldn't have responded that way. How did you respond that way? How have you been responding this way to this jacked situation? Yeah. And then we should be ready to give an answer to every man and say, hey, this is how. It's the Holy Spirit. Yeah. That is what it is. That helps me not curse this person out. Because there is a natural man here. Yeah. So just yield it to the Spirit. So there's God gives us shrewdness. And wisdom to be able to demonstrate our faith. I love that. Yeah. I love that. And here you are now, the CEO of the name in and of itself, Lift Jacks. Yeah. Like, for lifting up the name of Jesus, you're lifting Jacks. Now, tell us, what is Lift Jacks and how did you get involved? Yeah. I'll and this is part of the shrewdness too. The views you hear today are not the views necessarily of the views of Travis Williams as an individual. But, I'll say, Lift Jacks is a initiative started by leading business, civic, philanthropic leaders who were community focused. And back in 2017, 18, they were poking at
the challenges Jacksonville was happening, while growth was happening and a lot of success, they felt that everyone wasn't experiencing that.
Right.
And there were still pockets of heavy poverty and challenges in the city. And so as business leaders, philanthropic leaders, they felt they played a role in that to say, okay, what can we do to make sure all of Jacksonville is thriving? And out of that, to cut across the field, this group stumbled across a methodology, a framework called purpose-built communities. And it's an initiative that's been used in several cities around the country, about 30 or so to date. And it's a neighborhood-based approach, a neighborhood-based model, because all of us come from neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Our foundation, cities are made up of neighborhoods, and so it's a way to transform cities through hyper-concentrated investment in neighborhoods. So there's 4 main areas that we do investing in. Cradle to career education, which basically means from infants up to people leaving high school, how do you make sure there's access, again, in concentrated neighborhoods that folks can access healthy or access to good schools, career paths, community wellness, which deals with parks and green spaces, making sure that the amenities that people need in a thriving neighborhood are there. Mixed income housing. The most vibrant communities are mixed income communities.
Yeah.
And when you think about our forefathers and our ancestors, most black communities were mixed income, not by choice, but by force.
Yes.
And so whether you were an attorney, an educator, an entrepreneur, you look at neighborhoods like the East Side, or like LaVilla in its heyday, or Sugar Hill, these prominent historic black neighborhoods, you had folks like a Dr. McIntosh, who was the first black pediatrician in our city, who lived in the East Side, 3 blocks away, staying near my grandfather, who was just a blue-collar worker. And so mixed income just means, how do we create a neighborhood where mixed incomes can thrive and everyone has dignified housing? And then long-term financial vitality, which deals with small business, the economy of the neighborhood, the historic commercial corridor. And so our work is not necessarily programmatic work.
Okay.
You know, I don't believe you can program your way out of poverty.
And break that down a little bit. I believe I understand the terminology, because program seems limiting. It seems seasonal. It seems like there is a bit of a timeline to kind of measure its success, and then it may be the end of that program.
Yeah, so when you look at the reason why certain neighborhoods are, have generational poverty happening to it, those reasons are normally tied to lack of investment. It's not, growing up out east, we were just as smart and intelligent as folks who may be on other sides of town. A lot of times it's not the choices, it's the options people have.
Right.
And one of my friends and mentors in the work talks about that a lot. Folks in neighborhoods have less options, therefore sometimes they make different choices.
Right.
If you gave them different choices, they may likely make better options. And so when you look at the investments needed, and this isn't a slight on programs, sometimes you do need them, but I give an example. We had one of the worst HUD complexes in the country in the neighborhood. There's a score that a HUD complex gets.
Yeah.
And this one got a 6 out of 100.
Wow.
And people were still living in the building. And so when you look at something like that, does a program solve it? If you went in and put a program in place to
6 out of 100.
to help the folks that live there with the condition they were living under, and maybe that could help.
Yeah.
Or you could kick the slumlord out.
Right.
Make an investment
Yes.
to get the slumlord out and totally do a transformation. Or it's a food desert. Your food pantries, those things, they're needed. They help meet people where they're at. But what if we work to move the entire label from a neighborhood being a food desert by building a grocery store? And so that's one of the ways we look at the work is, what are those investments needed to complement programs?
Right.
But what are those sustainable long-term investments in place in people that can really create sustainable growth, where people have better choices, they have advocacy to make better choices, improve their well-being, and make the neighborhood a thriving place where people choose to live, which they choose to live in now. The East Side is a beautiful neighborhood, but it's had its economic challenges.
Let me settle something real quick about the East Side.
Out east, yeah.
Out east.
Out east, yeah.
Logistically, what is considered out east?
Yeah.
When
So,
we're talking about bridges and roads.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember, shout out to my always spiritual father, Bishop Von McLaughlin.
Yeah.
We had always a bit of a debate about what East Side was in reference to bridging. And please, Mr. Liftjacks, I stand corrected in all things erred. I'm fine with that. What is the out East Side?
So historically, to put this in context, the East Side, if you look at old maps, East Jacksonville, Oakland, Fairfield, Campbell's Addition. This is pre-consolidation Jacksonville. So when you look at consolidated Jacksonville, or pre-consolidated Jacksonville, when you got across the Matthews Bridge and got over St. John's River going that route, going east, you were out of Jacksonville. You were in Duval County still, but you were out of Jacksonville.
Okay.
And so the east side, it was east of downtown, east of the core of the city. That was the east side. And so it was platted in the late 1800s, settled by mostly freedmen who came there because of its proximity to the port and jobs in Jacksonville because of the growth happening. The east side became a respite, along with other sides, but the east side became one of those main neighborhoods for African Americans. And so if you look at the map, think pre-consolidated Jacksonville, it is the east side. And so people would say, hey, we got to get out east. You think of sundown laws where if you're maybe on Main Street, that wasn't a place for blacks after the sun went down. They may say, hey, I got to get out east. It's time for us to get out east. And so the east side, that's where that vernacular comes from. And so it butts up against Springfield. Historically, the most southern point of it is where the sports and entertainment district is right now. So think of before the highway was built, before the 21st Street Expressway or MLK, depending on your background in Jacksonville. And so that, on the southern point, where the sports and entertainment district is, all the way up to what they consider out 21st, which is 21st Street. And so that long rectangle that coincides with Springfield to the west is really what you consider the east side or out east. So you've got the out east. Phoenix is a portion of the east side neighborhood, and then out 21st, a long branch. And then some of the neighborhood has actually been demolished due to the highway. So the Fairfield area, there's still a small pocket of Fairfield more in the southeastern part. But that's what you consider the east side or out east, as we call it. You can always judge whether a person's really from there.
Right.
If they say they're from the east side, they're a certain age too.
That's true.
I'll put that in context. But most of the folks who grew up there would say that they're from out east.
Our brother Phil here,
Yeah.
Out east. That's the first thing, So that's how you know. Oh man, how did you come into relation with Liftjacks, its organization, and now its president?
So back to, I think, a foundational point that we've made in our conversation is God speaking through people. A mentor of mine, really. When this was an idea, it wasn't even an organization yet, but it was an idea. And a mentor of mine, Nina Waters, reached out and said, hey, there's some people meeting at my office, talking about work, and your neighborhood came up. And she said, based off of your professional background, but also your lived experience, she's like, you need to be at this table. And there was a project lead, a consultant at the time, who was just doing some day-to-day work. And she was like, I told this person he needs to meet you. And she's one of those people that I just say, yes, ma'am. I was like, okay, all right. And that was my introduction into this idea of using this model to do neighborhood transformation work.
Wow.
And the opportunity of the East Side being the first neighborhood that this work partnered with. And so came on board as one of the founding steering committee members of the organization, became a board member, because having indigenous East Siders at the decision-making table was important to me. And I was very frank about that we need to be making decisions. So was fortunate enough to be a board member. And then, the first staff member we hired, so my predecessor, the first president we hired, a guy named David. The timing wasn't right necessarily, but seeing the work, seeing how it was taken off, really beginning to believe in it, understanding the tension of the work too, that okay, this work may be going well, but there's still tension in here. In 2021, I transitioned from a role I was in. I was executive with one of the government departments, but felt that the time was right for me to transition out and get into the day-to-day work. And it really, for me, became, you know, my Nehemiah work and feeling that, again, the Lord using people in His Word, because I fell in love with the book of Nehemiah like a year before, and just totally like, I don't know how many times I read and listened to that book. Didn't know why, but just was engulfed in this book. And it's like God was giving me, you know, a foretelling and preparation, and so the timing was just right. So
I love too that you said this is the first project out the East Side is the first. So it's not a project that is just for the East Side. This is a city type of initiative. But this is just where it begins.
That's where it begins.
I love that. I love that. Oh, well, we're gonna take a quick break. I feel like we've gotten a good sense of who Mr. Williams is in terms of foundation and what you all are doing with Lift Jacks. As I always do, I have my guests to give me just a couple of songs that they utilize in their day-to-day life, or if there's a decision that has to happen, or something happened, something popped off, and they need a touch from the Lord. And that song can sometimes speak exactly those words. And so we're going to start with the one that I never heard.
Sure.
Rob Hale.
This is a bumper.
Set it up for us, Travis. Set it up for us.
Yeah, Rob, this is a song my kids love. They sing it real loud in the car. But it's a banger.
I wonder why.
It's a banger. But at the same time, it has, you know, a potent message of like this. We're trying to rob hell. We're trying to snatch souls from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light, and at the same time it feels good. It's a bumper. So
and it's so synonymous to the work that you're doing. Like you're robbing that impoverished mentality, all of the weight and burdens of historical detriment that individuals have lived in. We're going in there, we're taking it back for the kingdom of God. So enjoy this song, Rob Hell by Indie Tribe.
Hey.
Hey. So you were working for the government prior to Lyft?
Yeah, I was KHA. I was on the executive I was on the executive team there. So yeah, help lead that organization through a very tumultuous time. And learn a lot about public sector. So I have to engage a lot with the public sector now. So yeah, I was there for a 2-year period of time, a very tumultuous time, but I learned a lot, built a lot of relationships, with the public sector that I have to pull on now. So yeah, that's what I was doing before. So yeah, I went from entrepreneurial, got recruited. The CEO, a new CEO at the time, was like, hey, I'm looking to build a strong team. He got introduced to me. I was like, okay. The office is actually in the East Side too. And I was like, okay, like this is, KHA basically is a grantor. So they grant about $50 million a year to youth and children and family serving organizations. So they don't do that work. They're a fiscal agent that the city funnels resources through. So, got a chance to learn about fiscal oversight and, managing large amounts of capital and fiscal public dollars. So yeah, that's what I was doing before I got into. So I was a chief communications officer there, a bunch of other stuff, because we were going through a challenging time. So our executive team kind of shrunk and had to do other stuff as well. But a lot of crisis management training there, learning how to deal with crisis, and how to lead people through crisis too. And learning.
It's just so God when you look back. Of the yeses at the no's, that we've given into response to opportunity, and to see where you are, and it's like, wow, that was the reason why.
Yes.
That's why I went through this. That's why this was important for me to do, even if I didn't want to do it, because now you know how to manage, different situations because of the history that you had at another company. So
pull from that history, a lot of pulling from those lessons and those relationships as well.
And that was Rob Hale by Indie Tribe. Listen, we all have a mandate, okay? To rob hell. All right, you know what that looks like in your community, in your family, in your relationship. So make sure that you are maintaining that mantle and that charge, because Jesus coming back, y'all. He coming back soon too.
Yes, he is.
I feel like we're seeing evidence of that.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we are staying on our posts and that we are staying focused. If you're just tuning in, I have live in the studio Travis Williams, CEO of Lift Jacks, a community-based organization with an initiative to
eradicate generational poverty and build prosperity in neighborhoods.
Prosperity. Man, and I love how personal this mission is, not just to the company, but the personal connection that you have to it.
Yeah.
Because again, your family is from the East Side, and you're able to kind of speak and see some of the specific changes that need to happen. How does Lift Jacks build authentic and lasting relationships with its communities that it serves? Because I'm sure the people that live there, they see you guys come in, they may see the tractors that come in, they may hear about ribbon cuttings, and they're like, okay, is this a gentrification type situation? Is this going to change the way that I live? Am I going to be able to afford staying here? There's some angst sometimes whenever people see change happening. How do those relationships maintain their authenticity?
Yeah, all of that. And change is tough.
Yeah.
Even if it's needed change, it's still tough. And so part of the work is with people, and this is people work. The majority of my work is with people. Yeah. So it's messy, it's tension-filled, but there's joy and beauty in it as well. Yeah. And so part of the way we continue to try to build trust, because trust is always a present thing. Like, it's not like, hey, we built trust. Right. I don't agree with that mentality. You're building trust. And people watch you over time. They watch what you say, they watch what you do. When those match over time, you build trust with people. And so, it starts with proximity. And, organizationally, we attempted to, in our beginning, bring Eastsiders to the table. So our steering committee, we had 4 different committees, and we had those co-chairs. So I co-chaired one of those committees with a business or philanthropic leader. And so that was an attempt. Our board, we bring on board members in twos, and one of them has to be someone from the East Side. And so it always keeps, it doesn't solve every challenge, but it always keeps Eastsiders at the table, the decision-making table. And then for me, like, as I build a team, there is a genius, ingenuity in the neighborhood, in our ecosystem, and some of the folks that I get a chance to co-labor with, folks like a Suzanne Pickett from the Historic East Side CDC, resident leaders that I get a chance to work with, people who love their neighborhood, that I see them as co-laborers, a Devin, a Natavia, a Ariane, Ivy actually is on our team full time. Several folks, Avery McKnight, a Dana, a Dawn. There's several, a Mother Pearl. There are folks, and again, these are folks that a Honey Holzer. These are folks that many of them indigenous to the neighborhood. A Robin, they're indigenous to the neighborhood, and being able to dive into the tension of work with them on a regular basis. That's, for me, how I like to maintain that authenticity is we're at the decision-making table, making decisions together, working through things, working through challenges and personalities and emotions and more emotions and a little bit more emotions. But you're working through them. You try to build the same North Star, and you work and you work and you work and you keep the main thing. So I think for me as an organization, it's our, Tina, I'm thinking all these, I've seen all these faces, but Tina Stanton.
I hope some of them are listening right now as you're getting your flowers.
Kimbrough is a prime example of the Jumbo Shrimp just did a joint with Michelle Kimbrough. Shout out to Michelle Kimbrough. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Shout out Kimbrough for your birthday. It's your birthday, shout. But like, these are legitimate co-laborers. I consider them my co-laborers in the work, and they keep me honest, and they keep tension. And for our organization, getting to the change and people seeing things. We show up in the context of people just not believing. I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, I've seen this before. Nope, I've seen this before. Right. But for a leader, and I consider myself one, I can be a spectator,
Right.
or I can get in the arena.
Participate, yeah.
I can get in the arena and say, okay, I want to. You can't do both.
Right.
I'm not a good spectator. It's just not how I'm built to spectate. And so, getting in and actually doing work and bringing people in to where it becomes their work too.
Yeah.
It lessens the look at what they're doing, and it turns to, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And the we has to grow, because the we isn't everybody. So there are people who are close to the work who participate in it, and there are people who are still spectating, like, what are y'all doing in the neighborhood? But there's also people see over time, like, man, y'all are doing some good stuff. And I always tell people will, you know, they say, I'm glad you did this. And I say, no, like, let me correct you. And I do it on the spot a lot.
Yeah.
Look at what we did.
Yes.
And so whether it's opening Deb's grocery store, we were a food desert.
Yes.
Deb's was one of many neighborhood markets, whether it was Mr. Holt's store or Daylight. You had these stores in the neighborhood in their heyday, and we've lost most of those. And so Deb's was a store we were able to acquire, and ultimately through partnership with Goodwill and ViStar, who are our main tenants and operators in that building, build a neighborhood market.
Yeah.
And so residents who didn't think that was going to happen, when they walk in that store and they're like, how did this happen?
Tell us, because I'm sure when that ribbon cutting day happened,
Oh man,
there were
Ooh,
so many moments and emotions, you know, that you were filled with. Think of one, if you can recall, just a very impactful moment where we were like, Lift Jacks did this. We.
You know, we are part of a ecosystem. You know, we may have been the project lead on it, the lead developer on that project, but it doesn't happen without a community,
that even
tapestry
welcomes the idea
of folks that says, and that's business community. Some of our original supporters and people who invested in that project. But I would say a moment, that day it rained a lot. It was the ribbon cutting morning we were on the phone like, are we canceling this? Because it is like raining dogs and cats.
Right.
But we're like, no, we're not. It's scheduled. Where there's 10 people that are not, we're going to be there. We had some shades, covers and stuff. But I had a chance to close out the ceremony. And I would say the impactful moment for me was we asked the seniors who were from the neighborhood if they could come through the threshold first. Yeah. And seeing some of those seniors, one guy in particular, he was 80, and he was like, man, he said, I first came in this building when I was a teenager. I think he said 13. And when it closed, I never thought I'd walk through these doors again. And to be walking through the doors of this and have it look like this, and like, this is the east side. You know, those moments put wind in the sails.
Wow.
And it gives energy to continue to push through. And we want to continue to have those kind of excellent ways of showing up to where you begin to change the paradigm for even with people who live there to believe, hey, this is nice and it's for you. This isn't nice for somebody new.
Right.
This is like, this park is getting nicer because your kids can play here, not because new kids need to come. New kids can come too, but it's also here for you who are already here. And that's a long-term thing. That's a continuous thing. Because again, the neighborhood is changing. It's going to change.
Right.
We want to, you mentioned the word gentrification. A methodology that we've adopted is with gentrification. How do you gentrify, or gentrify just means to improve the economics or something, but normally it's improve with new people.
Right.
With gentrification means we can improve with the people who are here.
Yes.
The people who are here can be a part of improving and creating the vision and narrative for their neighborhood, while we also welcome in new, because we do need new people to come into the neighborhood as well. But it starts with the been there's, and it's not just about the come there's or the news. It starts with the folks who are there.
That's so good. And it really does, in a sense, kind of require a psychological shift in terms of deserving. You know, because you can live in an environment for so long and you succumb to it and you feel like this is the best that it will ever be. And for him to say, I never thought I would see it again in this way, so much more improved, really is that mental shift to say, yeah, we are deserving to have better, to live better, to do better while we're still here. And so I love that. What are some of the plans that we have with Lift Jacks coming up in the near future?
You know, catalytic ways to show up. Some of the stuff we're working on that's housing now.
Mm-hmm.
The neighborhood has like 300 vacant lots in a less than 2 mile square radius.
Wow.
Like, that is not healthy for a neighborhood.
Wow.
That's less taxes being paid. That's less investments being made because the tax base is low.
Yeah.
And so housing is very important, and we're not the only ones doing it. There are others, but for us, focusing in on housing, workforce housing, because it's important too for people to see successful people who look like them living in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and success doesn't mean just income,
Right.
but workforce housing for us is a big part of our initiative. So, helping to recruit folks, we partner with LISC, our LISC affiliate here in Jacksonville, a program that recruits working professionals back to the urban core. And so, we're building housing. We close next week on a house with an amazing young brother. Shout out to Dante if he sees this, but Dante Jennings, a guy I grew up with actually, but a nonprofit professional, works in the education sector. And so, filling in some of those vacant lots and visuals, you can become what you behold.
Yeah.
And part of the housing is I want young folks walking by Dante's house or Dr. Kirsten's house or Dr. Jameson's house or Ivy and Will's house and dreaming of being them. This is somebody who lives in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I walk by the house every day.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that house is nice. And man, I want to be Ivy.
Right.
Like, Ivy got dressed.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's a professional.
Right.
But Dr. Jameson got this like house that, man, I didn't even think they built something like this in our neighborhood. But man, it is nice. And man, I want to be here. Or Kirsten is like, you're a doctor? You live in this? That you're. That is part of the. And then it may be somewhere else. Like, man, you're a teacher, or you're. And so the filling in those lots. That for most kids, it's just a lot with weeds. Like, they've never seen a house on the lot. They've only seen it overgrown.
Right.
And it just becomes a regular thing. And so the housing work is important. So investments there, continued investments in parks and green spaces, because those are such an important part. Then one of the most important things for me is the commercial corridor of A. Philip Randolph and Florida Avenue. Neighborhoods like the East Side, the economic driver were the commercial corridors. So whether it's Ashley Street, Philavilla, or Florida Avenue. And so in my great-grandparents and grandparents' heyday, they talked about the vibrancy of Florida Avenue. And for the sustainability of the neighborhood, that corridor, largely vacant now, but it's had amazing business owner who's held down the fort, who stayed there. Again, the Mother Pearls of the world and others. Being able to bring catalytic development to that corridor so it could be an economic driver, bringing housing back to that commercial corridor, more business, this 15-minute community idea, which is what it used to be, where you can, in 15 minutes, walking or riding a bike or driving, you can get to what you need.
And we see that in different areas, like said,
we
in
do see that.
Jacksonville, where there are these developments where you get in your golf cart, right? And now you can go to the restaurant for dinner, or you can go to the grocery store, or go to work.
Yeah, if you're in San Marco, or you're in on St. John's Avenue in Riverside, or some of the other more developed urban neighborhoods. That's what a neighbor like the East Side used to be. And so folks can look out for some catalytic projects along A. Philip Randolph Florida, historic Florida Avenue, as we call it, in the near future. So more things to shock people. Yes. To say, I can't believe like this happened.
And there's so much growth and development happening in Jacksonville.
A lot.
Does Lift Jacks what is that conversation or relationship look like? Because I know I've been seeing a lot of planning, a lot of projections that are going to be happening in the next couple of years with downtown development. And so for Lift Jacks to be concentrating on certain areas, specifically the East Side, is there any kind of cross-secting happening?
Our future and trajectory is tied to the future and trajectory of downtown and sports entertainment district. We butt up against each other. Our futures are tied, and so where historically there is over $3 billion of development happening within less than half a mile of the neighborhood in the next 5 years. That kind of proximate development traditionally leads to certain things like displacement and gentrification, but the angle we take is where there's risks, there's also opportunities, rich opportunities. So if we can invest and build something to complement what's happening around us, this becomes a destination for, again, starting with the people who are already there.
Yes.
But for tourism, they're building a Four Seasons hotel.
I know. Yeah.
Less than a half a mile from the neighborhood.
Yes, almost done.
And if you can go, if you can pay for $1,000 a night room,
Come on.
then the neighborhood can benefit, because if there's a restaurant, a local restaurant that has a local culture and feel, where you can walk to spend your dollar, the proximity of people living and who can get jobs, those jobs that will be created with all this development downtown, people being able to live in the east side who may already live there or newcomers. We're definitely tied.
Yeah.
We are tied at the hip. And so for me, as a professional, I try to stay connected to those things. Which is speaking at a forum a couple weeks ago about downtown development, and they asked me to be a part of a panel to talk about, it's two neighborhoods, LaVille and then the east side, to talk about the development of the neighborhood of the east side and how it's tied to downtown. And so urban core neighborhoods help create a vibrant downtown. And there's several around our downtown, but our paths are tied together, and we want to build something that complements what's happening around us and doesn't allow the neighborhood to be taken over by what's happening around it. But there's a way for us to complement what's happening around
us. And that's the beautiful thing about this organization, is to know that there is someone looking out for the best interest of all the very communities within our cities, especially for those of us who are from this particular area of town.
I know this is, I'm here representing an organization, but I can't, go without saying, like, there's an ecosystem working. So, I mentioned Florida Avenue. We have a Main Street district now. We've never had a designated Main Street district in Jacksonville. It's a tool that's used all around the country. If you've gone to most popular cities, you probably spent time on a designated Main Street. Yeah. But that was something that Eastside business owners wanted to go after. We work with Eastside business owners now. That organization, led by an amazing sister, Michelle, is a part of that ecosystem. So you have these different nodes of organizations that we work with, and we play this role of, community quarterback is what it's known as but we get a chance to be a part of the organizing and formalizing of entities to roll in the same direction, because it can't, one organization can't do it all. But we play our role well, other organizations play their role well, and all of a sudden you see transformation start to happen.
I love it. I'm so excited. I'm a little giddy on the inside, because I'm like, wow, to hear the intentionality for what is happening in our city. Again, it does really reinforce the jewel that we have in our town and the things that we have to look forward to. Travis, we have one final song. We're going to hear just a little bit of it, just a little bit, as we come to the end of our show today.
Which one you picking?
No Weapon.
Hey, the classic.
No Weapon always kind of takes us there. What is a part of the song that really kind of just reaffirms your ability to be able to walk out what God has called you to do?
I mentioned Nehemiah earlier, and I think, one of the quotes I live by is, the price of impact is criticism. And if you want to make impact, you got to be ready for the tomatoes, is what I like to call it. And so, being conscious that there are principalities, powers, rulers that we are up against, and that there's opposition to this amazing work we're talking about. There's opposition. And so, this classic by Fred that I've known most of my life is, the weapon may be formed, like they are formed, but they won't prosper. And, we can't be intimidated by people forming weapons.
That's right. We
got to use the only weapons we have, which is the Word of God, prayer, put on the whole armor of God, and realize that, something greater has got our back. Absolutely. And they can form them all day. Yeah. But
we're covered. We're covered. No Weapon, Fred Hammond, and we'll be right back. Yes. Say that one more time. The price of
impact is criticism.
Impact is criticism. The price of
impact. I think Dave Hollis, I've heard a few, but I think Dave Hollis was the first person I heard say it. And I heard that about 4 years ago now, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that is, it's so sobering, but
it is, but it's facts.
It's true, like, and you can't get around it. Like, if you if you want to be impactful, you leave room for criticism. That's the price you got to pay.
Period.
And you can decide to get out of the arena and go be a spectator.
There's no other way around it. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It comes with it.
Yeah. And people who, who just criticize, there's normally not impact. That they're just playing the role of criticizing.
And having that not that you're welcoming it, you're like, come on, criticize me kind of thing, but just to know that, okay, there's a new door, so there's going to be a new level of language that's going to be used. And I need to prepare myself for that. And I get to make a decision on how I utilize that criticism.
Yeah.
That's good. I needed that. That's good. Wow.
Yeah, but
This has been really good. Yeah.
That time we may have to do it.
I gotta come back. Yeah. You gotta come back. I tell all of my guests that you gotta come back because it goes so fast. We didn't even scratch the surface. I think we did 3 questions, which is what I always say. It's talking points. Especially for those who may not know what to say. Where you're like, okay, let me go to another question. But I knew this would not be that. I do wonder though, what does it look like whenever you guys do it? I know you come to the table with the board, but getting into the neighborhoods, like is there any type of forums or town hall meetings or groups on Facebook? And we're going to talk about how people can kind of play a role and connect.
So early on, it was person to person. Like it was reaching out to existing community leaders and saying, hey, we want to have a conversation. We had dinners.
Yes, okay.
We sat down and broke bread.
Yes.
And we just talked through, hey, what does this look like? Yeah. And we're still, we've only been an organization for less than 5 years. So we're still figuring it out. 2020.
2020, okay.
Yeah, and then COVID happened. So we didn't really do much during COVID. So we're still figuring out stuff like it's not as buttoned up as folks may think, so.
Ooh, we can get more into that. And I won't be afraid for the arrows by day. Come on. Oh, I love it. Man, Travis, I am stealing this. If you did not hear what the man of God said, the price of impact is criticism. I'm going to say it again. The price of impact is criticism.
I need to tune you up.
Huh?
I need to tune you up.
That's a word though, because sometimes we forget, we're like, oh, everything is going so well, but they're saying so much bad stuff about me, so much negativity, and it's like they talked about Jesus.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
The Son of God, the Savior of the world. So we are not exempt from what a person can understand, what a person can't control, what a person can't predict. Those are the outcomes whenever a person sees an individual making change. And I'm just so grateful, servant leader, that you said yes to the call. How can people stay connected with the organization and with you? Yeah.
All social media platforms. I think the only one we don't have is Instagram, which we're working on that. Ivy wants to get us an IG account. But Lift Jacks on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter,
and it's all caps.
LinkedIn. You can just put in Lift Jacks.
Lift Jacks, okay.
Yeah, you put in Lift Jacks, and you can find me on LinkedIn. Is probably what I'm the most active on, but I'm on Facebook too, but I'm not too active on it. But if you want to learn about the organization, you can go and follow us on those platforms. And we're still growing up. I consider us just maybe out of the startup phase, maybe still in the startup phase. So we're still figuring things out. The team is going to be growing. We're still, recruiting and coming alongside residents. This work should be centered around residents. And then the other folks like business owners who call it home professionally, but more importantly, residents who live there. And
your voice matters, residents.
We're continuing to plug in with them and get them plugged into our work and co-create our vision with them. So you can go to our website, and then you can also go to www.outeastjacks.com. Outeastjacks.com, and you can subscribe there. And we, along with other organizations, send out information there.
Travis, will you come back?
Of course.
You got to come back. We just scratched the surface on the things that you're doing. I can't wait till you come back, because I can only imagine some of the other initiatives that are going to be brought to light. But thank you all so much. This was Travis Williams with Lift Jacks, and I'm your girl, Michellita Taylor, with the In the Know Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to connecting with you again on next Saturday. Be safe and stay blessed. Yay! Thank you, guys. Who I got? Hey, Kristen Williams. I wonder. He did good, didn't he, girl? Your man did good. He did good, girl. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll be back on next Saturday. Bye.
This is a place to be. Turn your radio station to victory. Where the spirit of the Lord is liberty. Tune in to the station that set you free. We going up right now. Please tune in, don't touch that dial. We so blessed and you wanna know how, not talking. We just living our